Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Dr. Abs Healthcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bryan Abasolo, a.k.a. Dr. Abs, and I am here with my lovely wife, Rachel Lindsay Abasolo. As you can see, she is coronavirus ready. We're all coronavirus ready.
Yeah. Happy to be here. Happy to
Thank
be
you.
back on the podcast. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit muffled, but this is the new normal.
Yes.
I've got my mask on. Bryan has his on or around his neck, ready to go.
I couldn't breathe through my
Ready to
bandana.
go.
I cleaned the mic really well, so it's all Lysol'd up.
We've got our gloves on.
Got our gloves. We're ready to go. Our video team behind the camera is all covered up. So what we wanted to do, guys, is just make a feel-good podcast. I actually asked you guys to write out a bunch of questions for us, whatever you wanted to ask us during this quarantine period that we're all enduring right now, and you guys definitely complied. So we're going to go over those questions a little later in the Healthcast. But first off, we just want to give everyone some tips to stay healthy during this COVID-19 quarantine that we're all in. So did this a little bit in my live earlier today, but both physically and mentally, we want to stay healthy. Okay, that's one of the main keys. And as far as physically, what we could do to stay healthy and keep our immune system strong is eat natural whole foods. A lot of people right now are shopping and, buying in bulk and buying a ton of things that, they're loading up on their quarantine snacks and their quarantine meals and whatnot. And I'm hoping that all of you are buying foods that are natural whole foods rather than the processed foods that you find in the aisles that are in boxes that, are going to contribute to potentially inflammation in your body and hinder your immune system from being as strong as possible. So natural whole foods, eat enough protein from quality sources. Rachel made some bomb salmon the other night, so from fish, lean meat, poultry, quality health, quality protein sources. If you're vegan, there's tons of options for that as well. Obviously support your immune system with antioxidant rich foods, supplements. I know we're loading up on vitamin C, probiotics,
Magnesium.
zinc, magnesium. It's the time where, you want to keep, like I said, your immune system as strong as possible, whether it be through supplements. If you can't get those vitamins and minerals through your diet, you're obviously supplementing with those. So very important. Omega-3s is another one I'm taking for cardiovascular health. Support your gut. We already talked about the probiotics. We're staying active. We hope you guys are out there as well. Exercise in moderation. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to overtax your body so that it brings down your defenses, but you definitely want to exercise for general health. You got to get moving. If we're quarantined, we're going to be sitting down, we're going to be laying down a lot. We don't want to stay still. Our bodies were meant to move. So we have to stay active in order to stay healthy. Hydration. We're drinking a ton of water. You want to limit all the soda intake, alcohol.
I'm not giving that up.
Rachel's not giving that up.
We're in hard times right now.
She's loading up on that wine, but even then, it's still a good option. You're drinking red wine, has its benefits, health benefits, white wine, whatnot. You just don't want to overdo the tequilas and the vodkas and just have that every night because, like I said, you're going to be bringing down your defenses. Getting enough sleep. I don't know about you, but I'm getting more sleep.
Too much sleep.
We're getting more than enough sleep right now, which is something that's very important. You got to have your body be able to recover and to be able to fight off any bacteria and viruses that could potentially come our way. So getting a good night's rest, I would recommend probably like 7 to 9 hours, and I think we're getting that.
Easy.
We go to sleep late, but we're obviously pushing the wake up time a little bit as well. Like I said, no processed foods, no alcohol, smoking. If you guys are vapors, you guys, like to partake in the extracurricular drugs out there, definitely stop that for the simple fact that, this is a respiratory illness. So you don't want to compromise your lungs any more than they obviously are exposed to right now with this coronavirus. So definitely adhere to those tips when it comes to the physical. Now, mental. Rach, I want to hear from you on this. Obviously, I think focusing on what we can control. I think that's super important right now. I feel like we're hearing all this negative energy coming from our TV screens, our, social media on our phones. And it's just, people dying, people getting, positive cases, whatnot. And the numbers are just growing. Now, they warned us about this. The numbers were going to skyrocket. And now we're experiencing this. So I think people need to focus on what they can control, stay quarantined, follow the guidelines from the CDC, from their local governments, stay healthy, do what you guys could do what everybody could do as far as eating the right way, getting their physical activity, staying hydrated, everything that we just talked about in the physical. Like, that's something that you can control.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you say focus on the things that you can control, because I'm an Enneagram 8. If any of my fellow Enneagrams out there, you know your number. And our biggest fear is things that we can't control. We like staying in control. So I really, really struggle with, I feel like I sound muffled, so I'm going to take my mask off a bit. Don't judge me.
It was like coming off.
I know. Okay. So I feel like I struggle with the fact that there's so much going on outside of us right now, and there's so much uncertainty, which creates anxiety in me, and it makes me worry because I can't control it, and I just love to control my situation. So I have to focus on the things that I can control, and that goes into mentally the things that we can do. And so I can control my mindset and how I look at things. And so every night when I go to sleep, I make a schedule and I plan out my day, because if I stay structured and I can control my schedule, that makes me feel like I'm grabbing a hold of things. If I can control my mindset, I wake up, I do meditation, I do yoga, I sit outside on the balcony and I just kind of take in that fresh air and just think about things. I walk the dog. I highly recommend a part of physical activity as well as going for a walk and just, that nothing like fresh air and having that sun on your body, your skin just really helps it out, helps out your mentality as well.
Getting sun, obviously, guys, that's the main way we get our vitamin D3. So that is a very important supplement that I'm taking right now. Obviously, I'm not getting as much sun exposure as I would like. So vitamin D3, the sunshine vitamin, is very important. Like Rachel said, breathing, meditating, getting all that negative energy away from you, from the TV and from social media, and just kind of, focusing on just going to another place, going to your happy place, and focusing on gratitude. I think that's another thing that, people need to practice right now, is gratitude for everything that we have, our health, everything that we have to keep us safe right now, our loved ones. I think that's huge. Connecting with, maybe people that you haven't connected with in a while. I know I'm FaceTiming more than ever with my family. My friends were, constantly talking on group chats and stuff like that. So, when everything is taken away from us, our jobs, the gym, everything that keeps us distracted in the real world, and we're in this quarantine process, it's just me and you essentially in our apartment with our dog. So it's like, our son. I'm so grateful that, I have you, I don't know how many times I've told you this. I'm so happy. Like, no offense to anybody that's like alone in this process right now, but you're technically not alone. I know you have family. I know you have friends. Reach out to them because they help. Talking to these people can help you out a lot, keep you positive, keep your spirits up. I think that's really, really important right now.
And sometimes you don't know you need it until you do it.
Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
Yeah, I've been doing the virtual happy hours, always an excuse to drink. I've been doing the virtual happy hours with my sorority sisters, things I didn't have the time to do when I was so busy out and about. I always talk about how busy I am in traveling. Now I can take time to nurture those friendships. I did a happy hour the other day with the other bachelorettes. And I remember my first thought. There was
some tea.
There was tea. Oh, of course. And I remember the first thought I had when I finished those virtual happy hours was, my gosh, I really, really needed that. And I think that if you are alone, thank goodness for technology, because you don't have to be. And you can really reach out to those people, family members, friends, and have that connection that may have been lacking before. Or read a book. I love to read, and that escape that you find through those pages and through those words and through those characters really can be a good relief for you.
Yeah, and like watching TV and just the numbing sound that's coming from that device and social media. Like with a book, you actually stimulate your mind, it gets you thinking, it enhances your vocabulary. it's like all about personal growth. When you actually read, you're just becoming a better version of yourself. Cuddle with your pets, obviously, you know, cuddling has been shown to release neurotransmitters in our brains, like feel good chemicals, that it's amazing when we do cuddle. You know,
we might be. Oh, I thought you meant with the dog. You with
Hopper.
each other?
Well, no, of course. Hugging, yes, hugging, you know, all that stuff is great.
I was going to say our dog, I think we've
yes.
been cuddling him too much because he is like, get these humans off me.
Yes.
Where are the other dogs? I feel like we're annoying him
and for
too
those
much.
of you that had the privilege of rubbing Copper, he's like literally like a carpet. So it just feels so good. So definitely cuddle with your pets. We're playing games.
Yeah.
We are
taking it back. We're taking it old school.
She bought Uno.
Guess who?
She spanked me in Uno, by the way. It was like 4-1. Four games to 1.
Did you win one?
I did
win
kick her
one?
butt in Monopoly. I won one. Yes, I won one.
I let him.
Whatever. I kicked her butt in Monopoly though, so we're actually taking it. The series is tied in games 1-1. We're gonna take it to the next level, I think, with Guess Who.
We've got Guess Who. We've got cards. I grew up playing cards. Brian, you don't really play cards as much, so there's some games I get to teach him. Yeah. That's not a real game. Blackjack isn't a card. What?
What's a card game?
Wait, I'm thinking.
What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking gambling. Well, it is gambling. I don't know. My mind went to Vegas, and I don't know. I was thinking roulette. Okay. Anyways, I'm digressing. What else? We did. Oh, and dominoes. I love to play dominoes, and Brian got me dominoes back when we were on this season, so we can play that too.
Play some dominoes, and just guys, keep a positive outlook on things. Like, we're gonna get this through all of this together. We are going to. This too shall pass. You know, I know it's very rough right now, and we might not be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel at this moment, based on what everybody's saying and telling us on TV. You know, so it's hard to think about, you know, this extending for multiple months, but just hang in there, guys. We're in this together, and we're gonna see it through. We just gotta have faith.
Yeah.
So just those are just a few tips, just a few of the things that we're actually doing to pass the time during this quarantine period. So let's get on to some questions. You have some oh no, I have the questions. Let's see. All right. Start off with Bryan. Was Rachel your first black woman you have dated?
Okay, I thought we were going to be taking questions about quarantine and how we're coping and how we're all in this together.
I did say ask us anything, so they took that literally.
What was the question? The first black woman you've ever been with?
Were you the first black woman that I've dated? And the answer is no.
No.
So the answer is no.
And
We'll leave it right there.
Whoever asked that question, if you don't think I already asked that, both on the season and after, to get full details.
She has a radar. She knew from the moment she met me. So
I was like, oh yeah, he's been around the sisters before.
All right. So that answers that question. Bryan, when did you really know she was the one for you? I think we both can answer this.
Yeah, we talked about this.
We talked about this. It was in Geneva, Switzerland. Yeah. It was actually our second date on The Bachelorette. You know, as far as solidifying, pretty much sealing the deal for me, as far as knowing you were the one, and you basically had all the qualities that I wanted in a future wife. I mean, that was it right there.
You know what I haven't talked about that? Can I curse on this podcast?
Sure, why not?
So what I haven't talked about is, even though I knew you were the one in Geneva, the moment I realized you were the one, I got scared. Like it was a feeling of excitement, and then a feeling of, oh shit, this is working. Oh my God, I actually feel like I can spend the rest of my life with this person. And so it was like a mental thing where I went back and forth with, I know he's the one, but I'm scared. I'm actually scared that I found the one. So anyways, I don't think I've ever explained it in that way. I don't know if you felt that same way, but it was kind of like, okay, I know it is, but this is in this world. And then reality, now we've got to explain it to everyone else. I don't know. It's a scary thing to know, my gosh, this is the one.
Yeah.
And I found them on TV.
I guess I was confident in that I was getting like the real you throughout. So I know like it was working on the show. And then I was pretty confident that after the show, you weren't just going to become this totally different person. And
a little bit crazier.
A little bit crazier, yes, but you know, hey, it happens. I think.
I did have to tell you though. I remember. I don't remember if I said it to you in Fantasy Suites or the day the cameras went off. But I was like, "You realize I don't always look like this, right? You do realize I'm not in." Have a full glam squad, always in gowns. You want to talk about a complete 180? Like, no
Trust
makeup,
me, I've
sweats.
I've gone through that test many a times during our courtship, after the fact, and during our marriage. So.
My homeboys used to say, "You're never gonna find a man looking like that." Now you get to see that every day. Got him.
Exactly. All good. All good. Let's see. Have you and Rachel been watching Love is Blind? Do you prefer the format to The Bachelor?
So that's a great question. And I think a lot of people ask us, have we been watching Love is Blind? We haven't. We haven't watched it yet. I don't know. Maybe I've just like had my fill of reality dating shows, to be honest. I mean, cover it on my podcast, Bachelor Happy Hour. Comes out every Tuesday.
Shameless plug.
But I don't know. I hear it's great. I understand the concept of it, which I actually love. And I don't know if that's going to get me in trouble saying this, but I would push more of that for The Bachelor. I get The Bachelor has its concept and it is what it is, but I do love the fact that you fall in love with a person just off of conversation. Yeah. And the art of conversation is something that is dying in this generation. And so I think that to have a show that brings that out, and then there have been success stories from it, show that you can truly fall in love with someone just through conversation. And it's not about the physical appearance. My goodness, in 50 years from now, we aren't going to look like, black don't crack. So I will. But I'm just saying.
Apparently the most, I guess, famous couple coming from Love is Blind is interracial as well. So I've been tagged on a couple of their stuff as well on their posts.
I have a question for you. If we had done Love is Blind, do you think that we would have fallen in love with our conversation?
I think so.
I think so too.
One of the things I fell in love with was your personality. I mean, that's one of your amazing qualities is just you're so cool, you're so personable, you get along with everybody. When the moment you step in the room, you're like the life of the party, and I love that about you. Like that was one of the things that drew me in. So I think it would have. And you just charmed
hopefully I would have charmed me. You enough. Come on.
Hopefully I would have charmed you through whatever they talk through a microphone, or I don't know how they communicate. I haven't watched a show.
Through a wall. They're in like these little pods. Yeah.
All right.
No, I think that we would have had the exact same result.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Glad that's the answer.
Oh geez, another Love is Blind. Oh, no, I was the same person. Okay. How many weeks or months do you think this will last?
Well, being the resident pessimist that I am, I absolutely think, I have friends canceling their weddings. Literally just had a friend cancel, was getting married in Mexico City at the end of May, and they've already pushed their wedding back to the fall. My guess is, and you have states like California that have shelter in place till May.
About May, right? Yeah. Jeez.
So I say June, July, and things still won't be back to normal. I just think that that's when they'll start to open up certain places. But I guess by that I mean it flattening out. June, July flattening out, and then changes will be made.
Like you feel like businesses and people are going to start being able to go back to public places and things like that.
Yeah, because I'm one of the people who wakes up and watches it, and it never goes off the news all day. We haven't really been binging Netflix and all these other shows because we are so into the news and what's going. You go to bed and it's 80-something thousand, and you wake up and it's almost 100,000 today. Yeah. So the numbers are just going, and that's all. If you listen to what the experts are saying, there's only one person who's saying something. We're going to be raring to go by Easter. Everybody else is saying, if you look at the science, if you look at the evidence, if you listen to the medical experts, they're saying it's going to get worse before it gets better. So it's just, you have to think of this in terms of months, not weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to agree with you. Just by the looks of it, and just the rapid rate of cases that are positive, and then all these deaths. We got to take this seriously, and we just gotta, whatever it takes, we gotta listen to the experts, the CDC, the World Health Organization, whatever they say and advise. I think we just all need to work together and and pretty much
Yeah.
follow their lead.
And not to get on too much of a political soapbox, because I really could stand on that and go all day.
No,
But
that's
I
okay.
will say,
Keep
just
it
to
to Healthcast.
put things in perspective, this started in Wuhan, way more populated in China, way more populated than the United States, and now we have surpassed every single country with the most cases, positive cases for coronavirus, and we're not even the most populated. I'm just saying, it's just growing and growing.
Well, we need to nip that in the bud ASAP. Could you do a room tour, please? I adore you and Rachel, by the way.
A room tour?
I guess of our apartment.
That'd be a no.
Yeah,
this
it's
isn't
so
the Real
messy right
Housewives
now.
of Miami.
We're trying to keep it clean, but quarantine.
No, it's not because it's
quarantine
messy.
status.
It's not because it's messy. I just don't want people to know the entire layout of
We're not bringing
how
you in
we
like that.
live. Yeah, yeah.
Next location, moving to LA or Dallas.
LA.
LA.
Easy.
I would say LA over Dallas. We've been and done Dallas already. Who has more baby fever?
I had baby fever before coronavirus, and now everyone, people write on our Instagram all the time, make a corona baby, which my God, can you imagine?
Baby?
Can you imagine quarantine, excuse me, yes.
Or both,
But can you imagine saying that you were conceived during, it's just, no. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but I'm not like, with all the uncertainty that's happening right now, and who knows what the new normal is going to be when all this is, when the curve flattens, I just think that it's smarter to wait, but if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, no, for sure. How is your lovely mom, Bryan, and dad, and your dad? They are doing good.
You didn't see Bryan's mom on the finale of Peter's season?
Not even close, all right? Well, somewhat, but not really. They're doing good. Obviously, it's very tough during this time because I don't want to see them physically at all. Not because I don't, but just because I don't want to put them at risk. They're both in their 70s, and it's a situation where you're watching the TV and all these elderly people are passing away when they contract this virus just because they are more susceptible to, all the all the symptoms and whatnot. So I just decided not to see them at all. I told them, hey, it may be a while until I could actually go over, not until everything is clear and they say it's safe to see, your loved ones. For the meantime, we are just FaceTiming and talking on the phone every day. I know Rachel's doing the same with her family. And, that's how we stay connected. Unfortunately, it is what it is. We got to do that right now. And, I wish that weren't the case, but, we just got to, live according to what the experts are saying. Let's see. Bryan, do you ever get jealous of Rachel interviewing and interacting with athletes?
Go ahead, answer the question.
No, honestly, I don't. I have big time trust with Rachel, and I know she's very professional, and I know it's part of the job. You know what I mean? She's actually progressing a lot in that aspect of her career in sports entertainment, and I want her to grow as much as possible. So
who asked that
at the end of the day, if she's interviewing, LeBron, Michael Jordan, like, that's amazing. I mean, I'm a huge sports fan.
So yes, he is jealous because I'm getting to meet some of his,
I guess, yes,
people he loves and looks up to in the sports industry. That's the only jealous thing.
Who have you met that I've been jealous of, though? Like, I know there was maybe someone.
I know. I can't remember. Well, I've met Michael Irvin, and you like Miami. Well, you met him too. Never mind, you met him.
I met Michael Irvin.
There was somebody I remember. I was like, oh, Bryan's going to be so jealous. Who knows?
Honestly, I don't get starstruck.
Too many people to think about.
I don't get starstruck. I don't know what it is, but like guys that are athletes of like my age or younger, it's like no big deal. Like a LeBron, it's like okay, but like older guys that I grew up with, like a Michael Jordan, that would be like the
I haven't met
for
Michael,
me, you know what I mean? But I know there was somebody that you were talking about that you were talking to. I was like, oh, really? It's funny, like at the national championship, all these athletes around, and who do I want to meet? Gary Vee.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes,
like,
you did.
Good old Gary Vee. I was like, I need to meet him. Didn't get to, but yeah, that was one of my guys right there. What's your take on the COVID-19? What do you predict will happen? I guess we already covered that a little bit. What has been the most difficult thing about being from different cultures?
Nothing.
I feel like it's seamlessly.
No, I will
together.
actually say this.
Uh-oh.
And now that I think about it just a little more, and we made the joke about Peter's finale, and I think that there is there is a different culture when it comes to the Latin culture with moms and their sons, and it's different from how it is in the Black culture. And I think all men are mama's boys, all of them. But I think there's certain when people got upset that I took up for Barb, and I said, listen, I'm not saying I agree with her delivery. That was wrong, but I understood where she is coming from because I have learned how the culture is and how close-knit Latin families are, especially the dynamic between the mother and the son. So that was a little bit, not hard for me to adjust to, but it was different for me, and I had to understand that. So, I mean, that's probably the only thing that I would say. I mean, my family is a little bit more laid back, or I should say my parents are more laid back, and I'd say yours are more involved with our relationship, or at the beginning they were. Not necessarily now.
Well,
and I think that's a cultural thing.
I guess it also matters, though. Like, you have 3 sisters. So you guys spread the love around evenly. You know what I mean? They got Constance, they got the grandkids, and they got you and me, and then, Heather and what she's got going on. So it's like, I feel like this love is spread all around. My dad does have, my other brothers and sisters on his side from previous marriage, but then, like, for my mom, I'm like her only kid. So it's like, I guess everything is wrapped around that. But it's funny that, I felt for Peter on the finale because I found some similarities in, like, the love that was coming his way from his mom. But it's so funny, like, in all the comments and, when people talk, like, all the Latin people that comment, I mean, yes, they may have agreed that what she did was excessive, which I agree with. I think she took it too far on that national stage. I think that should have been left her off camera. But a lot of Latin that are of Latin descent always say, you know what? That's like all day, every day. That's Cuban mom. That's Puerto Rican mom. That's a Latin mom.
It's a cultural difference. But then people
that aren't of Latin descent, oh my God, she's crazy. Like, run as fast as you can, Madison.
And I honestly probably would have said that too, but that's what I mean about having to understand there is a difference, and I had to understand it, So that's what I would probably say is maybe I wouldn't say it wasn't hard for me. It was just like, oh, that's different.
Yeah. And I mean, the great thing is you guys get along. I mean, I find a lot of similarities in both of you.
We do. We have a lot of, we're a lot alike.
Get along great. So thankful for that. Which state are you guys in now? Florida? We're in Miami. We're living in Miami. Is sex safe during self-isolation or quarantine? Sure.
I don't even know how to answer that.
I mean, obviously... Yes,
Wait,
I believe.
What's the question?
Is sex safe during self-isolation or quarantine? I mean, I think obviously if you're with one significant other and you guys live together, I mean, I don't see what the problem is. But I mean, if you're bringing in, multiple quarantine buddies in and out of your apartment.
That's not just quarantine. That just goes beyond that. That's just next question.
Safety in general, but now even more so. Let's see. Any tips and tricks for those who are scared during this time? We pretty much just went over a lot of tips and suggestions for everybody in the beginning of the Healthcast.
I would say I think it's okay to be scared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Embrace that if you're feeling that. Don't act on it, but know that you're not alone. I mean, we're all scared because there's just so much uncertainty.
And again, reach out to if you need help. Like, if you are feeling scared, like, talk to someone. Like, you don't understand the impact that could have on calming you down and lowering that anxiety that you may have during this time.
Yeah.
Get answers, whether it be, emotionally, physically, if you need to let loose somehow, some way, physically with the exercise or whatnot. There's tons of people doing great things right now, with the at-home exercises, which we're limited to. Financially, there's a lot of great financial information. I know a lot of people are worried about that. What's going to happen. Some people are living paycheck to paycheck. So, there's a lot of things coming our way. So just keep up to date on all those things that are, out there that people are showing you guys. Let's see. How should one handle bringing in and disinfecting groceries? We kind of talked about the grapes the other day.
That's disinfecting groceries. This is disinfecting groceries, not the grapes.
Well, disinfecting, we gotta wipe them down.
I think they mean like the packages and stuff, and the carton, like the boxes and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to take it that extra mile, I would say definitely use the Lysol wipes. On let's say the carton of milk or the carton of OJ or whatever you bring into the house. Whatever can be cleaned. You definitely want to rinse all your fruits and vegetables off. What else?
Just try to be be as conscious as possible. If you're going to go to the grocery store, I would just say shop with gloves. Make sure you wash your hands as soon as you come back from the grocery store. Disinfect, like Bryan was saying, the packages that you can. Wash your hands again. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. You're not going to be perfect in everything that you do. It's just try to do the best you can.
Yeah, and they ask, what precautions are you taking in and out of your home? Like you said, wash your hands. Even when we walk Copper, we wipe down his leash.
Yeah.
We wipe down our keys, our phones. I know Dr. Oz had posted something really good the other day about, things that we don't think about. The toilet seat flusher. I don't know what you call it, the little handle or whatever. The microwave handle, the refrigerator handle, the surfaces, places that you touch a lot, your computer keyboard, your phones, very important. I actually just was reading the other day on a really good website, has a lot of science-based articles talking about bringing down the seat and covering the toilet completely when you actually flush.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, supposedly it causes some plume and everything is spritzed up into the air that we don't even realize. So I'll actually post that on my Instagram and I'll show you the site where I got it from. But it was interesting to me, just because apparently the virus can be in fecal matter from what I read. So we just want to be careful and sanitary, clean the toilets, when you flush, put the seat down, and what else? Wipe down counters, everything. Change your sheets, maybe just constantly change your sheets. And that would be another good one. Have that hand sanitizer on deck at all times. Let's see. I think there's a personal question by somebody. What if other guys are texting your girlfriend and she tells you, should I be worried? So the guy's asking, should I be worried if other guys are texting his girlfriend and she actually reveals to him that, hey, other guys are texting me. Should he be worried? Well, I like that she was honest. If I'm understanding the question
are these
correctly.
random strangers? Are these her friends? How did that? There's so many questions I have within that question. If they're her friends, then why does it matter if they're texting her? You should know who her guy friends are. Are they random guys? Well, then how do these random guys get her phone number? I'm not really kind of sure how to answer that question. I don't think there's any problem with having friends of the opposite sex. I just think that your significant other should know who they are. Like if I say, oh, I talked to so-and-so, Bryan's like, oh yeah, tell them I said what's up, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But I hope we answered your question. I'm not quite sure.
There has to be some type of a respect factor there. It shouldn't be anything in hiding. Like you said, people that, your significant other doesn't know about, or maybe an ex-boyfriend that that you don't get along with, and why would your significant other be talking to them? So I think it's, the context that we would have to understand a little bit more in this question. But anyway, hope we answered your question. How do I get Rachel's good skin? Well, you did mention black don't crack.
I feel like I need to do a skincare routine because I do get this question a lot. I will say being in Miami helps a lot. The weather, the humidity. Because I notice the difference when I start traveling and go to different climates, or just being in an airplane. It's totally different. But I try to use organic or natural products. And I found that helps a lot. So I will do a skincare tutorial. Why not during these times? I have nothing but time on my hands. So I will do one. So stay tuned.
And then you had mentioned that now that you're home for a long time, you just seen an incredible improvement in your skin.
Well, Miami. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Miami.
Well, the fact that you haven't been traveling so much. And
Yeah.
like all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Bachelor question. Did you ever doubt that she would not choose you in the end? No. I mean, I say the most nervous I was probably about 2 days before I actually got down on one knee. But it was a very brief moment where I basically realized, wow, this is it. Like I could literally be married to or engaged to this person, and she could be the one that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, or she's basically nothing to me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it was either all or nothing. And so, that kind of hit me at the end. So I was like, I got a little nervous, but at the same time, what saved the day for me and what gave me peace was that I pretty much gave my all to the process. Like I didn't waste one single opportunity, talking about other guys or, worrying about what you were doing in other relationships or how they were going, how well they were going, how bad they were going or whatnot. I literally just focus on what I could control. Again, a theme of today's Healthcast. And I just focused on that, focused on you, advancing our relationship every single time that we interacted. So at the end of the day, it's like, if you didn't choose me, I would have hurt. I would have had my heart broken. It would have taken some time to get over it. But at the end of the day, it's like, I would have said to myself, you know what, Bryan, you couldn't have done any more than you did. And that was just a fact. You know what I mean? I did everything that I could possibly do. And if she didn't choose me at the end, it is what it is. It just wasn't meant to be. There's somebody else out there. And I would have been totally at peace with it. So I think that's way better than, somebody who, was focusing on the wrong things and then they're having all types of regret after the fact. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done that. I didn't have those. I went all in and it just happened to work out. And I feel like we said we were both mature. We both knew what we wanted. And I think we were just at the right place at the right time. And, I think that's where the magic happened. So I'm thankful for that. So I hope I answered your question. How preventable was this COVID-19 crisis? Details on how, if so, or if not so. Do you want to touch on that?
I mean,
you talked about it, in Wuhan.
Preventable, I think that it was, now I'm no expert, okay? This is just based off what I read and what I watch. But from what we do know, it had been here at least since January, and the government knew about it in December. So it was preventable in this. It wasn't, people were going to get sick, unfortunately, and people were going to die. However, the numbers could have been contained. Now they're out of control. And so now it's as if we're trying to play catch up when we knew that this was an issue. We saw what was happening in other countries, and the government was still saying things like it was a hoax and it was going to just wash away when the heat comes, or things like that, rather than taking it seriously and really listening to what the experts were saying. So I do think that there was a way that this could have been contained better, and I think it was inevitable that it was eventually going to get to our country, but the numbers definitely didn't have to be this way, and we could have been more prepared medically as far as providing and staffing our stocking hospitals with the proper supplies that they needed to combat this virus. Now we're trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
I think the government is now taking it seriously and stepping up. The problem is just that it's out of control, and there just seems to be a disconnect between what the states are doing and what the federal government is doing.
Couldn't have said it any better. I mean, I agree with you as far as the catch-up mode. I mean, all the ventilators that are needed, all the PPE that's needed, and there's just not enough.
What's PPE?
Personal protective equipment.
Okay.
Masks, gloves.
I didn't know, so maybe somebody else out there didn't know.
My PPE and another post. I was like, "What the hell is PPE?" I looked it up, so that's why I know. But personal protective equipment, gloves, masks, etc. So, yeah, and I know there's companies stepping up out there that are, making those mass production. So, hopefully those can get out to the people on the front lines ASAP. Let's see. Next question. Can you really get a good home workout with no equipment compared to at the gym? We've been getting good home workouts. I think it's all about, there's different ways to enhance your workouts. You could either do more sets, more weight, more reps. You could always enhance it in that way. So obviously we may all be limited with the weights that we have. Obviously we can lift more weights in the gym because they have, dumbbells of 150. But, it doesn't mean that we can't get a good workout by just doing body weight or, having a smaller set of dumbbells or using bands, or using partners or chairs or just random stuff that we have in our apartment that can help us get a good workout. So definitely think you can get a good home workout. If you need home workout, FYI, go to Dr. Abs Fit. You can choose the home workout programs and get a customized workout for the home. So go check that out, drabsfit.com. Let's see. Hi, I love you two so much. My question is, Big Rach, where can I find a Bryan? Church or other?
I mean, unfortunately, there is only one Bryan. I could suggest that you go on The Bachelor like I did, and then maybe that'll lead you down that road. But honestly, I would not have found a Bryan if I hadn't gotten myself together before meeting him. So what I would say is you have to be ready to receive somebody like that. And Bryan and I always joke that years ago, we would not have been ready for each other. And I think that Bryan always says timing is everything. And at the time that we met each other, we were in a place obviously there's chemistry, there's physical attraction, all that. But we were also at the time to be ready to receive each other. I know that prior to Bryan, I had been in relationships where they were not okay. And I had been used to being treated a certain way that became normal to me. So even on the Bachelorette, you saw me struggle and question Bryan because I was so used to receiving love a certain way. So that became normal to me. So I would naturally move towards that and thought that, with Bryan, there has to be something wrong or it's just too good to be true. And it's like, no, you deserve that. You're ready for that. You're open. You have to be open to receive it. And I was. And I had to put that old thinking aside and felt like I deserved a Bryan. And so I was, open and ready for that. So I guess I'm saying all that to say you have to be open and ready to receive a Bryan, since that's the way you put the question. And it'll come to you. It's just what sucks is it won't necessarily be on your time. It's just, it's on God's time.
Yeah. But I interviewed Shan the other day, and I loved what she had to say as far as you got to practice. Like, you got to, like what you were saying, like you got to a certain point through experience, but there are ways that people out there can actually practice and work on themselves. Like, basically her theory was go on a bunch of first dates, like learn how it is to talk to people. Like, maybe you'll learn more things about yourself. Maybe you'll grow during that process. Mm-hmm. And eventually you'll get to a point where essentially you take control of your love life.
Yeah, because you know what you want. You know who you are and what you want.
You love yourself. So I think, that saying that's, everybody says you got to love yourself before, you could let somebody in and give them all of you. I think that really rings true. Let's see. Best immune support advice for adults and kids. Well, obviously I've talked a lot about the immune system, keeping a healthy immune system. I think obviously the best way to do it is through foods, through whole nutritious foods. Right now, obviously we're being quarantined. We are indoors a lot. So when your parents, when you do go shopping, you want to load up on foods that are going to give your kids and as much nutrition as possible and fill in those nutritional deficiencies that could be currently active in your child or in yourself. You got to focus on the citrus fruits, the greens, the lean meats, the healthy fats. All those things are going to help build up your immune system. And if you have to, grab a multivitamin or, some vitamin D3, some vitamin C, some extra supplements to fill in those nutritional gaps, I think that's a great way to do it. So I would just say, just focus on leaving out the bad processed foods that are high in sugar, that are gonna give your body a lot of inflammation, and that really are not nutritious, and then replace that with foods that are, going to replenish you with the things you need to fight off things like, bacterias and viruses out there. So that's what I would recommend. Okay. Another person asks, 0 symptoms from me or my mom, both been quarantined for 2 weeks. Is it safe to see her? I personally, if that was me, I personally would not. I'm willing to wait to see my parents for as long as it takes until the experts tell us that it's safe, just for the simple fact that I do not want to risk it at all. 2 weeks, who knows if, that's the proper amount of days to wait. That's what they said right now. But if this thing's going on for months, is that really the case for us to see, being able to see our loved ones? So me personally, I would hold off as long as possible. Again, there's ways that you can communicate with your family, FaceTime, over the phone, and just do it like that. You don't want to risk it. Obviously, us being young, we may be carriers. A lot of people out there, you see that we're positive and they have absolutely no symptoms. Mm-hmm. And that's crazy, but that's a reality that we're living with right now. So I would not want to put anybody that I love at risk, even though I'd have no symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys get through your biggest fight?
Who knows what the fight was over? Yeah. But I think whenever there's an argument, you both have to, obviously communication is key, but it's so important also that you kind of humble yourself in the conversation. Because I know that that's something that I have to work on is, sometimes you want to explain, it's not necessarily about being right, but you want to explain why you were feeling that way and how you got to, the place where you had whatever, argument, whatever your side of the argument was. But I think that if you humble yourself and you try to hear where the other person's coming from, it doesn't mean you still have to agree at the end of the day, but you're at least being open to understanding what the other side is. So I think communication and humbling yourself are the keys to getting over a big fight.
Yeah, I think that, ever since the beginning, even when we would get into arguments, I feel like we both did a great job of, one of us always stepped up. Maybe one person was more mad than the other or whatnot, or vice versa. But I feel like one of us always came to the other and said, you know what, this isn't worth it. I want to make up. I apologize for this, that, or the other. And, I feel like the other person was always like, you know what, you're right. I apologize for this, that, or the other. And it was just us coming together and communicating for the most part. I think that, like what you said, humbling is a big part, because I'm sure there's times where you're like, I know I'm right. And there's been times where I think I'm right. Mm-hmm. And, we have to say, you know what, regardless of whether I'm right or not, like, I love this person. I respect this person. I want to move on from this. This is silly. We shouldn't be arguing about this, or we're going to, we got to communicate in some way, somehow, and get over this. And we just do it. Like you said, humble yourself. You're in this together, for the long haul, and you just got to humble yourself. So I like that. Are you guys planning to give Copper a little sibling? Love you guys.
By sibling, do you mean another dog, or are you saying a baby?
Since he is our son.
Yeah, because I don't really think of him as a dog.
Let's say in dog terms.
We're not getting another dog.
I always feel like he needs a little brother, but I do...
See, this is you're going to start an argument.
The concept, no. Let's be serious. Like, the concept is beautiful. Like, you see him with like another little Pomeranian, like a little brother. That'd be so cute.
Isn't it cute in theory?
Yes,
the reality is that I would be taking care of the new dog, which I take care of Copper more. It's like, and honestly, I love it because he's my baby. I had him before I had Bryan. Before Bryan became my big baby, I'm always refer to Copper as my little baby and Bryan as my big baby.
You're also making up for all the time that you're away. I've been with him, so it's like true. You got to get some more QT in with him. That's
not true. It's like I do not want to take care of 2 dogs personally.
Oh yeah, 2 dogs is a lot. I admit, in theory, it's amazing, but he's got enough friends at the park and at daycare. I
Yeah,
think.
he lives a good life.
And he's like he's an independent dog. I don't know how he would handle that.
Yeah, he wouldn't. You think he would want another dog around? He's more of a people person.
Yeah, yeah, he is like a person.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Where do you see yourselves in the next 5 years? Well, I would say, I would hope within 5 years, yes. Kids are definitely in the picture. Kid or kids are definitely in the picture. Possibly in Miami, possibly in Dallas, possibly in LA. As far as the location of where we would be at, where we would settle down, that's still yet to be determined. I would hope that we would both be thriving in our careers. I have one or more practices in my name, running others, different businesses in the health, wellness, nutrition, fitness space, motivation, whatever that may be. Obviously you expanding your career in sports entertainment, the entertainment industry. Obviously I know you had a lot of great things happening prior to this shutdown that, I know a lot of people out there are probably suffering. They thought 2020 was going to be their year, and it's been probably the worst year. But, we just got to hang in there and just stick together, and, we're all going to come out better at the end of this. And, I feel like those opportunities for us are going to come back, and they're going to come back strong. So I'm looking forward to it the next 5 years. How about you?
I think I wanted you to go first because if you follow me, I read this book in 5 years. And so my mindset has completely changed when it comes to this question, even though it's a great question. It's one you see people talk about casually or even in interviews. But in this book, this girl it resonates with me is because she's an attorney, and she had planned her life down to every particular detail. And she has this dream, and it's her life in 5 years, and it's nothing what she thought it would be. And so she wakes up and she goes back, and it's like the journey of that. So now I'm kind of question, if I try to say what my life would be like in 5 years, would it be totally different? Will it be something? Would it be exactly what I wanted? Am I going to be disappointed? I don't know. My mind just goes to so many different places now. So I want everything that Bryan just said.
But I guess what I said was more
general. Right.
You know what I mean? The details mixed in there are maybe different.
Well, because when I think of, I had planned my life, when I was in law school, of how I wanted things to go by the age. This age, I want to find the person I want to marry. At this age, I want to get married. At this age, I want to be pregnant. At this age, I had that detail. Let me just tell you, none of that has come to fruition except for law school. Again, things I can control.
Yeah.
But I get scared to answer that question because I think, will I be counted as a failure if I don't get those things? So I love the way Bryan answered it because it's general things we want for ourselves in the future. Kids, a family, a house, stability, a thriving career, to be financially settled. I said a house, yeah, because I want that stability. I want to be in good health. I definitely want to grow my brand. I know Bryan wants to do the same thing. So definitely in 5 years, I want to see that happen. If I had to pick one thing, though, I would say stability. I travel a lot. And I will say the one thing that I've learned in quarantine is it is nice to be still and to just be.
Yeah, agreed. Well, perfect segue. How has the adjustment been for you and Rachel since she's home 24/7 now? I think it's been fine.
Yeah.
A lot of times when she comes home, we do go out every now and then, but it's like she just came back from a long trip. We just want to be in each other's presence. We want to cuddle with our dog. We want to watch movies, watch Netflix, watch this and that, and just be around each other. But since she's home 24/7 now, we've also realized that we also want to give each other space. So a lot of times, like right now, so Rachel's picked up the Desperate Housewife bug, and she's watching a marathon of Desperate Housewives. And I sit there and watch it sometimes, and
No,
I
you
kind of
don't.
I get amused sometimes.
Not
Like,
at all.
I'll give it like 5 minutes every time she's watching it, but then I'm like, you know
Can
what?
you change the channel?
Yeah, can we change the channel, or let's watch, this or that, or I just go to another room, and that's fine. Like, I know she needs to get her little fix in of her housewives shows. I'll go in the other room and watch sports, or try to work on something else, and that's fine. Like, I don't think we have to be together like white on rice every minute of the day. Right. I think it's healthy for you to give each other space. I know my parents do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
My dad will be downstairs watching TV. She'll be upstairs talking to her girlfriend or whatnot, whatever the case may be. But we always end up coming together, whether it's to watch the news now, watch the White House briefing, or eat breakfast together, lunch, and maybe at night when we watch Netflix or whatnot. So I think it's just a good balance of what we have. And because I know, all those memes come out now, the husband and the wife, I know you've seen those memes. There's one where it's like, it's day 5 of quarantine, and like the guy's ears like 3 times the size because his wife has basically been chewing his ear out or whatnot. So just like these funny memes, like my wife is driving me crazy, my husband's driving me crazy, but I think it's just a delicate balance that you have to, perform, I guess, in the 24/7 life that we have now, and just give each other space, come together, love each other as much as possible, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tell us something surprising you discovered about each other that you both have in common. Well, I mean, we discovered a lot of, I think, pleasant things that we discovered after the fact. Once we got off the cameras.
One of the first things I will say is that we both love Martin,
yeah,
the
we
TV
both have
show.
an affinity to 90s R&B music.
90s, that was like one of the 24 hours after we both discovered that about
and
each
90s
other.
sitcoms,
Yeah.
particularly Martin. You did call me Jerome on the season.
I did. That was your code name.
That was my code name. And, when I was in hiding or whatnot before we were announced to the world. And it's funny because one of the characters in Martin is Jerome.
Yeah.
So, we just bonded with that. So I would say, yeah, that.
That. And then like I guess we like the same genre of things when it comes to, like you said, music, shows. We both love to watch scary movies together. We love to watch comedy specials, whether they be new or old school. We love that. So like, look, those are things you don't get to talk about on the show. You should. In normal dating life, you would, and you find out you have those similarities. So it was refreshing to know, gosh, we did make the right decision, because we knew how we felt emotionally about each other, but then just to see that the little things we had in common as well. It's like, oh, if we had met each other in real life, we would have done this thing too.
And I think that our love for sports.
Oh yeah, of course, sports.
I mean, we knew we both like sports, but I think after the fact, where it's like, I saw you sitting in front of the TV watching SportsCenter. I mean, not a lot of women can say that. Like, you literally watch First Take, and we're like going back and forth arguing the topics, like Stephen A. and Max. I mean,
I don't know if you remember
that's
this.
never happened with any other woman that I've ever been with.
I don't know if you remember this, but one of our happy couples weekend, because we didn't know we knew we were into sports, but like you said, we didn't know the
Florida,
depth.
Texas,
yeah. And we know our like affinity to our teams. But I remember one of the happy couples weekends, we were making breakfast, and I turned on the TV and I put it on First Take, and we were kind of like, "Oh, you like First Take?"
That's what I'm talking about.
We both were like, "Oh, you watch a show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love to watch it in the morning." And then you said the same thing, and then we sat there, and it was like, "Whoa, we kind of have the same morning routine."
Yeah,
so I thought that was cute.
That's rare, gentlemen. That is rare. Let me tell you. Let's see. What are your favorite traits about each other?
I feel like we've answered that one before.
Answered that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there a best time to work out for weight loss? I would say, guys, I would say probably in the morning on an empty stomach. So like when you're fasting, obviously if you combine that with intermittent fasting. So for example, you're on like an 8 hours on eating window with 16 hours off. Let's say you stop eating at 8, you don't eat until 12 noon the next day. You're basically haven't eaten since 8 p.m. the night before. You wake up, let's say around, now 9:30, 10. You get a workout in, within right before 12. and then you can have your first meal. But I mean, you're basically a fat burning machine in between that time. So I would say fasting on an empty stomach, workouts in the morning, maybe some high intensity cardio, HIIT training, things like that. I would say that's the best time for a workout for weight loss. What that mouth do?
Oh, I did write that.
Okay, so Rachel asked what that mouth do. I'll let her answer that. What that mouth do, Rachel? What does this
That's
mouth
the
do?
next question.
Oh, you don't want to answer that? You're just joking, huh? I think people want to know. Best lesson you learned from your parents?
I'd have to think about that one. I don't know. Could you say off the top of your head?
I would just think like love hard. Like just like I don't know. I feel like I came from a very loving household, and I just feel like I'm going to want to show my kids like the same love. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny because like I feel like I've always been a good kid as far as, you know, a child and parent scenario is concerned, just for the simple fact that I knew how much they loved me, and like I would maybe think about things that I would do that were quote unquote bad, or, you know, behind their back.
You were a good kid.
Yeah, like just the fact that it's like, wow, they would be so disappointed. Like, I think that would be...
That's the dream. That's how you want your kids to think.
I would feel like I would disappoint them so much, and I didn't want to make that happen. So, you know, sometimes I would think twice before, you know, partaking in certain things or whatnot, or doing quote unquote bad things, you know? So it's like, and I think that's just from all the love that they showed me. So it's like, at the end of the day, you really can't control what your kids do. Yeah. But I think if you just shower them with love, and you just teach them right from wrong, and you just say, you know what, just make good decisions, man.
Yeah, I feel like my parents did that. I came from a really loving family too, but I was like, what they don't know won't hurt them.
That too. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't like a goody two-shoes either. You know, I did my damage, but...
I would just say the greatest lesson I learned from my parents was the example that they set. Just watching how they were, how I saw my parents. My parents both came from families. One grew up in the city, one grew up on a farm. They didn't have a lot. And seeing how they worked hard to get what they have, yet they still are so incredibly humble. They give back. And just, again, the love they showed to us. The greatest lesson my parents taught me was just their example.
Amen. Amen. Scale 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. How are you guys handling Corona? I think we're in 4 to 5 range. I think we're handling it pretty well, right?
You think you're a 4?
Like,
you don't think you're... oh, wait. Like, it's 1 to 5.
5 is
Sorry,
the highest.
I heard 1 to 10, and I was like,
5,
geez.
5, no. 5 is like you're handling it perfectly, which I don't...
I'd say a 3.
3?
Yeah.
You're in the middle of the pack?
I feel like I could be doing more. I don't feel like I'm taking advantage. I'm a person who likes to take advantage of every minute, hour of the day. And I feel myself falling off a little bit on it. And if I'm not taking advantage of every hour of the day, then mentally it affects me.
Yeah.
Because I am like a go, like get it. And so I just feel like I'm like, you should have done that.
I took it more like mentally, like how are you handling like everything that's
going on. But it affects me mentally.
No, you're right. You're
3,
right.
A strong 3.
It's funny because, yeah, like they were saying that during the last recession, like all the companies that were built. So it's like, we're not creating an Uber right now. Like, what are we doing? We're failing ourselves.
Life is not going to be the same when this is over with. There will be a new normal. Every industry is affected. I just don't think things are going to... And I'm more so speaking from the industry I work in. I don't know if things are going to be the same. And so it's almost like you have to start thinking about reinventing yourself, or what's your plan B. So I guess that's how I think. And I'm like, if you're not working towards that, it wasn't a good day today.
It's like, how are you going to hit the ground running once this is all over?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going, you know, when you like shake up a Coke bottle, I'll use a champagne bottle, alcohol reference. You shake up the champagne bottle, you pop that top off, and everything just goes. That is me. I am like shaking inside. And as soon as they say we can go outside, I'm going to pop. I'm going to burst.
You're going to be sprinting.
Look out, world. Here I come. One more question.
Who apologizes first in relationships? We already talked about that.
No, we didn't.
Who apologizes first?
We didn't say who apologizes first.
I think we've both had experiences where
I would say you apologize first.
most of the time.
Yeah,
But
well,
you've
that's the
apologized.
question.
You've
But the
apologized to
question
me.
is who apologizes first? You do. That's a compliment. You
Yes,
apologize
you're right.
first.
But what I was saying, like, we both apologize.
Sure.
Like, one of us always steps up. pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll stop on this one.
Okay.
Name for your children when they come.
Oh, this is easy for me. I don't like traditional names. No offense I have a traditional name, okay? I wouldn't have named me Rachel. I like boy names for girls. I like names like Rain and River and
See, I'm not like totally against those, but please mention the name that I am against.
I'm always joking. I said I was going to name our son Arbol because it went with Abasolo.
Tree. That's tree in Spanish.
I'm not opposed to tree, but I'm joking. I'm not going to name their children that. But I just like a name. I like names where, you know what, you could take that name, you could cut off the last name, and that name could be
Madonna.
No,
like
but more of like that name could be your stage name, or that name could be a great album,
Yes.
the name of an album. I guess that's how I
And you
think
also
of
gotta
it.
think kids are mean, so you don't want your kid to get picked on. With Arbol, forget about it.
I'm kidding. Like it's almost like not even funny anymore. It's like I said that years like when we first got together. Totally not naming our child that. But I definitely have a list of names that I plan on using.
That I shall have to approve.
I'm just gonna need him to think, to be open minded and be creative.
I'll be open-minded.
when it comes to the names.
Okay, last one. Wedding memories that make you smile.
All of them.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay. There you go, folks. All right, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Healthcast. We talked about a lot of things that you guys wanted to know about. So hopefully we pretty much answered most of the questions you guys had. But thank you for coming on. I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe out there. Stay mentally strong, stay physically strong. We're all going to get this through this together. So, big shout out, hug, and a kiss from RnB to every one of our fans out there. We love you guys. And just take care of yourselves. Until next time.